Hi guys, welcome to a new episode of Ooosie Story Book Talks. My name is Elizabeth Solala, but I usually go by Liz if you don't know already. And today I have special guests with me today. You guys will introduce yourself from this side to here. We'll start with you.
Okay, my name is China.
I'm Jalen.
I'm Stephanie.
I'm Afolabi.
And welcome to episode 4. Today, guys, we will be talking about relationships, but not in just like in a relationship sense. We're going to be talking about the journey to self-respect and self-love. Because have you guys ever heard this thing where it says that in order to truly love someone else, you need to be able to love yourself first? I feel like that's really important to kind of dive into, because this season is all about knowing yourself, knowing who you are, self-growth, self-journey, to like kind of like finding your sense of who you are as a person. So I felt like what better way to talk about that than to like have people who are currently like in relationships to speak on like how they got to that point where they're like they love themselves before they could love somebody else. Am I making sense?
Yeah, no, for
You guys
sure.
kind of get what I mean? Okay, you know what? We'll start with this because there's a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking about standards, identity, relationships. Like, we're going to be talking about how do you know you actually love yourself? And is it just a performance? Or is it like a fake it till you make it type thing? Like, you just pretend? Like, how do you actually know you actually love yourself? Or is it just something that you have to kind of like portray that you do when you're entering into something? But before we unpack all of that, we're gonna start with this. Can you guys think of a time where you've compromised, let's say, your self-worth for someone else?
Yeah.
That's a tough question.
Okay, let me like simplify. Okay, wait, actually, since you said yes, you probably understand what I mean. Can you elaborate on an experience?
You said sacrificing your self-worth for someone else?
Yeah, like compromising. Like, you've compromised your worth and who you are for someone else. And what did that moment teach you exactly?
I mean, I think it depends on like how you define, self-worth personally, and I feel like self-worth can be anything from how you interact with people, how you allow people to interact with you, and the vulnerability you give yourself or give other people to enter your life and affect how you live and behave and stuff like that. So when you change yourself, your personality, your patterns to accommodate someone else, you can see that as like sacrificing or compromising
Yeah,
your self-worth for someone else.
I get what you mean. I remember there's a lot of times where it's like, I feel like when you like somebody, it's very easy to like kind of let go of who you are, your morals, and your belief system, just because you want that person to like you. I don't know. I've had a lot of times where it's like, for me, like, I know someone isn't worth my time, but because I really like them, I'm like, you know what? Like, I'll just put my worth on like 50% off today, just to like give them a chance to see, okay, maybe my standards are too high. But I don't know. Do you guys think there's such thing as having too high of a standard?
I kind of have something to say. I don't think it's about having high standards. I feel like when you do meet somebody, like, naturally, because you're having to work with another person, there will be natural compromises. But I just don't think it should be to the point where it becomes a question of self-worth or self-respect, because if you are with somebody and you guys are like building together, like, it will be fair ground, because like, I don't know, you're becoming used to another person, so you're going to learn things from that person, what they like and what they don't like, and it's just out of respect to like accommodate those type of things. But I don't think it should be a situation where like, oh, you go and do a whole 360 on your identity, basically. Like, that's a whole different thing entirely. So if I don't also think it has to do with like having high standards. I just think that you should be know what you personally want, because like when you know what you want and you're grounded with that, you will find somebody else who basically wants the same thing or something similar. So it's not even like you're having to go about changing what you even want and would be comfortable with as a person.
Interesting. What do you guys think regarding that?
I know, I agree, honestly. Like, you know that you found your person when you can truly be yourself. And when, like, more of like your true self kind of comes out. Like you can kind of like find your person at that point. You know, like you found your person. I feel.
That makes sense. I feel like a lot of people tend to. I saw this one thing, right? And the thing was basically telling me, well, not telling me, it was saying how a lot of people, when they change themselves, someone else falls in love with that version of themselves that they think, oh, this is you. And then when, the relationship comes in and you guys are actually getting to know who you really are, you realize you fell in love with a different person and they're not the same as they were when you first met, because that person changed their entire persona to fit you and your standards and what you like. They didn't show their real selves, and it's like then the relationship falls apart because that's not who you fell in love with. That's the person that you changed yourself to be in order to get that person to like you. And I feel like that reflects a lot on what's it called again, compromising who you are, your worth, for somebody else. Does anybody have any other stories of like when they kind of compromise themselves for somebody, or like when they kind of like reduce their worth?
I think when I think love should always add worth.
That's deep. Expand. Like, what do you mean? You said love should always add worth.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Because
so when you say compromise, right, I think of like, does that take away from one another if you love one another?
It does. It really does, because it's like one of those things where it's like, well, love should be, they say if something is not adding to you, it's taking away from you. That's life. Life is an add and take away balance. No matter what, something is either adding to your life or taking away from your life, whether it's taking your time, your energy, your heart, your anything. It's either giving you, making you like worth it, or like taking it away. So it's like, I get what you mean, that love should be adding, but what do you mean by that? Because you said it should add worth. So like, expand a little bit on what you meant.
I think you put it well.
Okay.
I think you put it well when you said it's a give and take, but it's also about the balance part. So I think that's a really key thing that you mentioned there.
I also think it's maybe about perception, because you can say like, oh yes, it's supposed to add worth, right? But it's like, okay, like I said before, like it takes your time. Some people might think something that takes their time is bad. They don't want things taking them time, but like when it comes to the right things, it's good. So it's like, you want to spend your time with that person because you like them, so therefore it's worth it. But if you didn't like them, then it's not worth it. And it's all about kind of like how that person fulfills you, I think, in a way, kind of like if it's in a give and take situation. But like when it comes down to like that self-love and self-respect atmosphere of it, do you guys think, because like when people always like find reasons to kind of like self-sabotage a good thing, a self-sabotage a relationship, do you guys think that lack of self-worth or self-love when you enter something also connects with that like self-sabotage and that goes on when people like enter something?
Yeah, 100%.
For sure. Yeah, I feel like if you don't have kind of the self-love and self-respect in yourself, you can't really it doesn't make sense if you like have like another person telling you that like I love you and I care about you and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't really make sense to you because you don't love yourself. You don't really understand it, and so you kind of like, that's when you start sabotaging.
Yeah, I get.
And you're like, I don't deserve this love right now that I'm like receiving, because I don't even think I deserve it.
That's deep, but I feel like people also kind of like, that's kind of also connected to like being afraid of self-respect. I feel like people kind of are afraid of like what would happen if you choose self-respect. Like letting people go is not easy, and I feel like at times when you're in a toxic situation and like, okay, in order for me to respect myself, I need to let this go. I don't know, do you guys think a lot of people was there a time you guys were afraid of self-respect?
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because you brought up a really good point there about what was that last bit you said?
Being
right
afraid of self-respect.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I got it now. So I think with some people it depends on the dynamic,
Yeah.
right? Like there's innumerable amount of people living, breathing, and different people and different life beings on Earth, right? And so I think there's a lot of different ways that things interact with one another. So one of those ways, in the ways that you mentioned, when it comes to that kind of dynamic, I think some people that, like as you mentioned, don't, like they kind of like are numb to it, or like don't know what that means, right? And I think that kind of ties into, like with some dynamics, it could be the type of thing where you are at such a point where the person that you bump into could inspire you to turn your life around. And that journey can be a journey of self-love, because the love that they gave you and the way that they gave you that love and the love that they have for themselves was so much that you could go and run around the world with it.
I get that.
Yeah.
I understand that.
I feel like a lot of people view love as a take, in a way. Yes, you're supposed to be gaining a lot from love, but do you think that, like, for example, when someone says, oh, what do you like about your partner? And they're like, oh, I like how they make me feel. I like when they wake me up in the morning. I like that they reassure me. It's always a me. But it's never, I like them as what they emulate of who they are as a person. Do you guys think that it's easier to give when you actually true love someone? Because it's like self-love, yes. Self-love is very important when entering into something, but I feel like a lot of people also enter something selfishly about like what they can gain and like all the things that they have to benefit from that relationship. They don't really care too much about what they're giving to somebody else, and if they're giving that person joy or stress, or how their actions are affecting that other person. It's more or less that person makes me feel whole. Do you make that other person feel whole? Do you guys think like people don't really think about that enough? Has there been a situation where you guys feel like that has been an occurrence in your life, or like you felt that way before, that you're giving or someone else is giving and you're not receiving?
Yeah. Well, this was like a past relationship that basically did not end well. I wouldn't even know to count it, because there were lots of red flags like at the beginning, and it's like at first I was trying to be like, I don't know, I would say hopeful, to be like, okay, maybe I could talk to them, talk things out or whatever, but then it just wasn't adding up. Like, for little context, there was like, we met here, but like they schooled in another place, so it was kind of like sometimes long distance, sometimes it wasn't, because they still had family here. But like the times where like they would be in school and everything, like obviously like we would be on like phone calls and like we'll talk, because at the same time like that's the person I'm with. But it got to the point where they would even complain like, oh, I'm not like giving them attention and like all those type of things. And it's like, I could literally be in my tutorial classes and they would be on FaceTime on my phone.
Oh, so they really wanted, they were overly asking you too much. Do you think that, because I feel like sometimes we think we're asking for too much, but we're really asking for the bare minimum. I'm not saying that's the bare minimum. I'm just saying, what are instances do you think that bare minimum can also be perceived as too much?
In terms of like what exactly?
Like just in terms of like that situation that you put. So would you say that there's been times where it's like they were mixing up the bare minimum, but also too much? Like they were saying like, oh, this is the bare minimum, but it's like,
they weren't even coming at me in terms of like bare minimum. It was just a thing of it was never enough. Like, yeah, because like I'm very like, I like it when my people like each other as well. So it's like if like they're on a phone call, like my best friend would be talking to them, my friends were all interacting, like, but it got weird, you know. It got to the point where sometimes they would just end the call if like my friends come in and be like, oh, let me know when you're ready to talk to me, and like all those type of things.
Damn. So it's kind of like a.
It was literally like the best way I could honestly explain it. It was like they were leech. It was like a love leech type of
Did it feel
situation.
possessive?
It's like there was
It wasn't even a thing of like possessiveness, cause it was just almost like they wanted all my attention, like 24/7. And you know, in first year, I had like NSA dance practice and everything. It was around that time period, and it's like
you were very busy.
exactly.
And it's like they kept asking.
And
for a
without
lot.
being understanding, like they knew. And it's like if I'm not in class, and if I wasn't in class and if I wasn't in dance practice, I was literally having to be on phone calls with this person.
It felt like a chore.
Not even like it felt like a chore. Like I didn't mind it, because at the same time it's like we're not like actually physically together. So it's like I understand, but then it got to the point where even what should have been like logically or like understandably enough just wasn't, because it's like I don't know what you want me to do if I'm literally having to go for dance practice and classes, like to make it make more sense. There were times where she would try to talk me out of, you know, going for youth classes and dance practice, like that type of situation.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Wow. Do you guys think that sometimes people like to do vice versa, almost in like a way where like times where they weren't giving you enough, but that was actually the bare minimum, versus times where they were doing too much and they were calling it the bare minimum, but it wasn't, like in past relationships or past experiences?
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
It's a big
It's
question.
okay if you
Yeah.
guys don't have an answer. It's just something to think about.
Yeah, I feel like not all the time, but like sometimes when people are asking for too much, quote unquote, they don't feel like secure, and it sounds like the person that you're with didn't feel like secure in the relationship, possibly, and felt like that's where like compromise comes in. It's like, I can't contact you at these certain times. Is there anything else that I can do that will make you feel secure when I'm in these spaces and I'm not able to tend to the relationship right now? You know?
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like it's all about balance.
Exactly. And what you're capable of bringing to the table. And that's why some things are just not compatible.
That's true. That's true. I feel like there's a lot of instances that could be mixed up when it comes to the bare minimum or being too much, or red flag, green flags when it comes to relationships. So I feel like what better way to kind of segue more into that than with a game? I feel like it'd be fun to kind of like go into some questions and kind of have you guys kind of tag team to see if this is a red flag or a green flag. And you guys would get to decide together if it's a red flag or a green flag, and we'll kind of discuss more into it. But you guys also have to be in sync.
Okay.
And if you're not, we'll talk about it. If one person says, I feel like this is a red flag, I feel like this is a green flag, let's talk about why we think that.
Wait, like if one person, as for like one couple, or like one person in a couple?
Either.
Okay.
So if anybody at all feels a separate type of way, we'll talk about more into like why people think that way. Let's start with something easy, okay? They say they're too busy to talk to you, but they're always online. You have to decide first before you show it up. Is that what you agree with?
Honestly, yeah.
Are you just saying that?
No. I feel like you can't be too busy and then still be constant. You can just let them know. Like, if you're online, you can let them know. So that's a red flag.
That's true.
What do you guys think?
I also think red flag.
I think it also could be in between. If it's like communication.
You just threw a dog.
Maybe you can understand a lot.
Say that out loud.
What do you
Because
think?
what's with that logic?
So kind of, a little
Like,
Yeah.
discussion,
it's
but
disrespectful.
I think kind of it could be in between, but it could be considered a red flag.
Okay.
It could be
Okay.
because in of itself, that statement
Mm-hmm.
doesn't quite efficiently communicate
Mm-hmm.
the situation and
That's
such,
true.
right? However, and why it could be a red flag is, well, why? They now you can ask questions, right? So it's a red flag, because a green flag would be like you just kind of go by it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But with a red flag, you kind of stop and think.
Okay, so in
And
other
so-
words, you think that
It's a red flag because you should ask, you should check in.
Yeah,
They're
so,
so
like,
busy
at
they can't
first
even
at
efficiently
surface
communicate
level.
to you
But
why
they're
they're so
al-
busy.
but they're always online.
Maybe they're online because they're managing things, and that's why they're busy.
Yeah,
Okay.
at surface level.
Because
if you don't
things these
overthink
days
it,
is
then it could be
different.
like that.
So you
You
think
could be online and just straight
okay.
different headspace, right?
By the way, just to
I've-
be specific, we're talking about that person,
Mm.
not you. Are you a
Mm.
red flag or green flag? It's that person. If you think they're a red flag or green flag.
Exactly.
I understand it in that context, but when I hear, oh, you're online, I'm imagining I've already texted you.
Maybe we should also
You
clarify
guys.
what platform.
I feel like okay. Let's start with Instagram or Snapchat. Like you see
Yeah.
them like posting on their story, or you see them liking things, but they texted you, they're too busy, or like you call them, they say, oh, I'm busy right now, but
Yeah.
you saw them, they just posted on their story 3 seconds ago, they just viewed your story. They're always online,
Yeah.
but they're busy.
I
That's
think it
very,
could be a work
very
thing.
clear.
So I wouldn't hold it
Against them?
You'd have to
no.
communicate it.
You'd have to communicate. But like you can't just hold the weapon against somebody, without even
Yeah.
understanding why you're holding it there.
Now, if they're like, yeah, like I could text back or I could talk to you, but I don't want to,
Mhm.
then it's like, do you even like me at that point? Like,
I
what's
feel
going
like-
on?
Obviously, yeah, that too. But then also with the situation I'm imagining, it's like, obviously, if I have a partner or whatever, I can imagine that at this point we have been talking for quite a while for us to know, what we also consider like respectful towards each other. And it's like, I personally, like, especially because if I use myself for an example, and even Liz can testify to this, I'm always doing something. And even with that, I will make sure I would even reply to Liz. So it's like, if you're doing something, you don't necessarily have to engage in a conversation, but if my partner texts me or I text my partner, just respond at least and be like, oh, I'm busy, give me a minute. Like, but just to me, if you see my message, it may not necessarily be a red flag, but to me it's already disrespectful, and that's enough for me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
If you can't just take a second to be like, I'll call you back.
Yeah, or just
something.
something.
Yeah, especially if it's like an ongoing thing. If it's like a
Yeah.
1-2 time here and there, and they're like working in the
Yeah.
field, and they can't like access their phone, then sure. But if it's like a ongoing thing that you
Yeah.
have communicated, then it's like, yeah, that's red.
Okay. What about this one? This one's interesting.
Getting excited.
They say they're ready. They say they're not ready for a relationship, but they still want to keep sleeping with you and keep talking to you and keep FaceTiming you and hanging out with you. But they're not ready for a relationship.
And
What were you
we
gonna
want.
think?
No, we're both going for red flag, but she was just forcing it.
I just wanted to be the person holding it.
I thought you guys were
No,
looking
you
like.
can have it. You can keep it.
Okay, yeah.
Is
so
this
red
both
flag.
decided by both of you guys, or is it just you?
Can you say that better?
I said they say they're not ready for a relationship, but they still want to keep hanging out with you, sleeping with you,
And
FaceTiming
this is
you,
in
hanging
the
out
context
with
that you want a relationship with them.
I mean, yeah.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
And
I
they
feel
know
like
that
that-
you want a relationship.
I feel like that could be
Okay.
complicated too, because that could be complicated, and I think it's also a matter of, that's a lot of communication.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because there's a lot to learn.
So you don't
Right.
think that's like necessarily a red flag?
I think it'd be a red flag,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't then necessarily think that just because it's a red flag that it doesn't mean that it's like
Yeah.
it's less value,
Yeah.
right? Or like that it's not something that's still worth having in your life of that person, right? Because
Okay.
sometimes people come from, difficult environments that cause difficult
Decisions
connections and
and
decision making and
connections.
stuff like
Yeah.
that, right? So
I think it's fine to not want to be in a relationship, but then you shouldn't waste anyone's time,
That part.
especially if you know they want to be with you and you know you don't want to be
Yeah.
with them. I think it's fair. You can say, yes, I do want these things with you, but then if we're on different timings, different pages, then don't waste your time. Don't disrespect them.
Yeah.
Because what I would say the red flag is like, oh, you're doing obviously you're doing all the relationship things, whatever, but then you're still doing, oh yeah, I'm not really ready for a relationship. I don't really like. That's when it kind of feels like you're even stringing the person along, because I feel like it does, like, whatever you want is fine so far as there's clarity on both ends, like basically what he said. So it may be a red flag, but it just depends on like the situation in which you apply it to.
But like, what if you guys are in that, like, okay, you're in that, they know you want a relationship and they know that like you're with them because you like them, but you're telling them, oh, well, okay, let's do it in that sense of that person. So you want a relationship with that person and they know that you want a relationship with them, but and that's the reason why you're with them and you like them, but they don't want to give you that relationship, but they'll do everything.
And they're wasting your time.
So you
That's
think
just-
that, like, what do you think a person should do in that situation?
They have to make a decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
It's-
Like that's where decision making comes in,
And
right?
that's where
Like,
self-love and
Mhm.
self-respect comes in as well.
and that's where the dynamic
Because
is.
ultimately speaking, you deciding, is it up to you? Do you want to settle inside that person's offer, or do you genuinely want to go off and find somebody that will want the exact same thing you want?
Mhm.
Interesting. And do you think people who have been through that stage can decide to be friends and manage being friends, or do you think that it's either they end up dating or they should just let go of each other completely?
It depends. It's up to the people, because they can hang out with each other and realize that they are meant to be friends. They can hang out with each other and realize that, oh, okay, let's actually be together or whatever. Like, it's all depends on the people involved.
I feel like in the context you described, it might be harder though, because
Yeah.
if one person like actively wants to be in a relationship and then the other one doesn't want to be, it can be awkward. Like if they don't both communicate, like, okay, we're not doing the relationship. Like, I'm not even going to, you know.
Technically, that person can still do things with other people.
Yeah.
You can't even
Yeah.
get mad because it's
Yeah.
like they're not in a relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that if you were in okay, so now that you guys are like in relationships, do you think that if one of your partner had a friend that had that kind of dynamic with somebody maybe that they used to like, but that person never gave them that friendship, but they're friends now? I mean, that person never gave them that relationship, but they're friends now, but they used to like maybe like, you know, do stuff and go on dates and hang out and things like that. Would you guys think that's still an okay friendship if they're just friends and they don't do anything? Or do you guys think that would be a boundary being crossed?
You
in
have to
relationships?
have communication and transparency on relationships
Yeah.
like that. You have to be really secure in your relationship and very mature. And it's not only like your partner, because you can be really like trusting towards your partner and you can have a lot of transparency. It's about the other person now.
Mm-hmm.
What are their thoughts? You know, where are they at? So now it's like, do I have a conversation with that person now to see where they are?
And things are a step-by-step process. I'd really
Yeah.
like to point that out, right? Because it's not so much this or that with those types of things, right? Because the truth of the matter is everything's different, and a lot of really great things take time and consistency. And consistency in the way that when things take time and you show up each time trying to keep things on a path within the relationships in your life where it's always going to be something good between you and another person, it takes a lot of conscious effort, and that is what I mean by consistency. And I think when I think of relationships like that sometimes with certain relationships you don't always get a second chance. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that sometimes the last time you see somebody is the last time you see somebody. And that's the biggest thing, right, when it comes to those types of relationships, because you could think about somebody, you could remember somebody, you could feel somebody, right? You can even feel somebody's presence when they're with you, even if they're not somewhere you can see. when you have really deep connections with people, right?
Interesting.
I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but there's been like, I've heard things, right, and I've seen things, and there'll be certain moms where it's like they can feel if there's
There's the presence.
if there was a passing of their one of their children, if they had a really deep, forgotten connection with their child.
That's interesting, actually.
And so that's why it's so careful that when you interact, you be careful along the way, because sometimes you push each other too much, and that could be the last time forever.
That's true.
And that's a thing.
You never know who's gonna give you a second chance. You never know if that person is on their last straw, and it's like you think that, oh, you can get away with this, and then it's like it's too late. That person's gone.
Exactly.
Interesting. Okay, let's go on to the.
Oh wait, sorry. Just one more thing on top of that. I mean, things could be like end up going differently because like there's a lot of new technological innovation going on across the globe with developing how people interact, right? And so there's a lot of different things. So it's like nowadays we're dealing with problem solving things more around like longevity of life and things, and the removal of plaguing and diseases from communities and things that promote longer lasting life between people. So it's like if you have less things that can be a causation for people to have that forever disconnect, then things could be different. But right now, I mean, the world is still having a lot of innovation, so
that's true.
That's the only thing I would say that could make that different.
True, we actually don't know. Communication is different nowadays than it was like 40 years ago. People communicate on so much different levels. Now it's like if someone left you on red, it's like you could break up with them technically, but that wasn't a thing 60 years ago, you get? So it's like just as life and technology and everything is evolving, so are relationships, friendships, and new rules that this generation has is so much more different from rules that people had back then. Okay, speaking of rules and this generation, do you guys think it's a red flag or a green flag if someone is in a relationship with someone but still posts like revealing stuff on their story and their posts, like in their pages? But let me finish on this one. But they were kind of doing that already before you guys got into a relationship.
I feel like it depends on how, like, because I feel like with those type of things, it just ultimately boils down to like you and the person you are with, and like what you guys consider like respectful to yourselves.
Like, but do you think it's a red flag or a green flag?
I don't think
somewhere in between.
It's like
it's somewhere in between. Because if you found them that way, then it's like that's how you found them.
You
it doesn't really
that's how you found them.
I mean, true. Like, if you were attracted to them because of that,
exactly,
it's like you can't just suddenly tell them to change that part of them. Okay, but like, let's stick on one answer.
Oh.
You saw somebody that they like to post, like selfies and like let's do this from a boy and a guy standpoint, a girl standpoint. So it's like if you post stuff on your stories, maybe they post like a lot of shirtless mirror pics after the gym, or maybe they do a lot of like they wear a lot of tops that show some cleavage or like some like stomach area, like that's just the type of person they are. Maybe they post gym videos and things like that, and just like it shows your physique in a revealing way, right? But you get into a relationship with someone, you're committed to someone, and they keep posting and knowing that you guys are in a relationship, like they keep posting things like that on their story, and you know that that's the reason why you were attracted to them in the first place, and they know that too. Would you guys think it's a red flag or a green flag if they keep posting those type of things?
Honestly, if it's just for like my eyes and they're doing it for me, and they're not like they're not doing it for other people.
This is just social media.
I think that it really depends on relationship dynamics, because when you consider relationship dynamics, there's a lot of overlay and layers and complexities in what brings about a relationship. Even that word relationship is the way in which things relate to one another, right? Okay. And so it's like if there's something that you connect with somebody on about something, why do you want to change that about them when that's the thing that brought you guys together in the first place? And sometimes you grow with people and sometimes you change, right? But
Or what if
that's
it was a part of them that you didn't know existed? Like maybe you saw them in a library or something, and then you find out that they post a lot of revealing things online, even after you guys are in a relationship.
It depends.
This is be a deal
You,
breaker.
though.
It would be. Do you think it depends on people's deal breakers?
Yeah, like I feel with that type of thing, it ultimately boils down to the person. Like it will just if you're still getting to know them, and if you find out something about them that is having you away, and they also and you talk to them and nothing can be done, then I think it should be safe for you to call that a deal breaker. And go, because like even with the posting thing, I also wanted to say that it also depends. Like yes, you may have like met the person, like posting and all those type of things. I personally, I wouldn't say it's a problem if they genuinely keep posting, especially because like I can also look at it from like the content creator like point of view, especially now because a lot of guys want to do like gym content and like all those type of things. So it's like even in terms of that, I can understand. But then what I can say is a a red flag is if like because maybe you and your partner had a fight, then they go and post stuff like that.
Out of spite.
That is when it's like it becomes a problem. That's why I'm like, I think any other way it's just a thing of like what already goes on. But then if it's when it depends on the reason too, I guess. Like why are you actually doing it? Because if you're doing it for content because it's nice and people genuinely do like posting, like that's fine. So far as nobody's actually feeling disrespected by it. But if it becomes we had a fight, so I'm going to post this, then that's different.
It's like a different thing.
Yeah.
I was just saying, like, when you're getting into a relationship with someone, you have to like have a certain level of security within yourself.
Yeah.
That's true.
So if you're going to go on Instagram and DM someone who you see has a bunch of pictures of themselves on their profile, you have to know, like, you're not just going to take those down because you've come into their life.
Exactly.
That's who they are. So you need to be secure within yourself and know, is this something I'm comfortable with, or
is this something I
you're
should
not?
stay away from? Interesting.
I just think it's also, in addition to that it could be like a thing of like, really just kind of like depends. I feel like why you're posting, like why you're publicizing certain types of information about yourself, right?
Yeah.
And in what way is that being portrayed and delivered, right? Because the content of that is as controversial as you make it. And so in that, it's a matter of what do you decide to do with what your perception of it, how you feel like you interact with people because of that.
That's interesting, actually.
Yeah. Also, like, I love like why you're posting it, what type of audience you're also trying to attract. All those type of things I feel like are very important, because as much as like you're supposed to be secure in a relationship or before you enter a relationship, I also don't think that means your partner should not help you maintain that security. So
Okay, what about this one? They ghost you for days and they say they were going through something.
I can feel like both perspectives. Like, I can be the type of person who I'd be going through something and I just wouldn't want to, but then you have to just let them know. You have to reach out. You have to communicate.
I didn't say reach
So there's
out.
nothing.
I said
If it's nothing, then
it's
it's like
out-hand ghosting. Like that's just the problem. Like so it's like they just disappear for like 1 week.
it has to be a red flag.
They just disappear for like 1 week.
They ghost you for days, and then
What
I said
does-
it as I said it.
But when you say ghosting, does that mean, because there's levels to that, right?
No, like they ghost you, like they disappear, like
Physically,
someone
socially,
like
everything.
maybe if you go to
Complete-
their house, that you'll see them, maybe, but like maybe you might see them on the street, but they're not talking to you on.
I don't think you can say it's a red or a green flag because you never know what a person is going through. They might have had like the
I
worst
think
day
it's
of
a
their
red
life.
flag
they're
though,
your
because you
partner.
should.
No,
Yeah,
now
I
hold
understand,
on.
but, like,
If somebody,
everyone
I
is-
don't think if somebody isn't talking to you for 1 day, I don't
Yeah.
think that's not.
I'm not talking
ghosting.
about 1 day.
If it's 1 day, that's not good.
I'm not talking about 1 day. I'm saying they've had, let's say, the worst weekend of their life ever.
Weekend.
Hold on.
That's still not
I'm
ghosting.
saying, hold on. they've lost parents. They've lost their job. They've lost their house. They're going through. They don't even have their phone. You don't know what's going on. So they've just decided, okay, this 1 week, I just need to figure shit out. And they come back to you and say, oh, I'm sorry, this and that, this and that, this and that. And they're being honest. You don't know what people are going through.
Okay, I can understand that. But then, to be honest, I feel like that weekend that everything happened. Wait.
It's like the movie we saw.
I know. That's what I'm like. I feel like that weekend that everything happened, that you had the worst day, whatever. For you to sit down and at least think, okay, let me get my things in order. You can also sit down and think, let me text this person that I'm going to be gone for like a whole week or something. Like, you get.
I'm talking rock
Like, for
bottom.
sure.
You're still thinking they can actually pick up their phone and text you. I'm talking they've had the worst possible experience ever.
Okay,
They
I
don't
mean,
even
Like,
know.
that's a very one in a
Yeah, and
million
that's why I'm saying it's hard to like ascribe, or is that a red flag or is that a green flag?
I
Like,
mean, like, we're talking realistic. Like,
Yeah, like,
majority of
realistically.
relationships, it's not like every single time someone goes somebody for days and say they're going through something, that they're having the worst week of their life, lost their phone, lost their mom, lost their grandma, lost everything. in
Lost
their
their
life.
house.
yeah,
Lost
but
their
like,
house. Realistically, maybe they're really swamped with school, and maybe, you know, their parents are being assholes that weekend to them,
Yeah.
and their friends are really maybe they are shutting down, but it might be in a way that's overwhelming, but not in the sense that it's like everything.
Yeah,
everything.
no, I
to
get
be
that,
honest,
but
if they're
it would
actually
never be a
shutting,
green flag.
yeah, if they're
It could never be a green flag.
if they're actually shutting down,
It could never
No.
be. It
If
could
they're
never
actually
be.
In a
shutting
relationship,
down, then I
you need
feel
stability, I feel.
Yeah.
So it's like for the person to just ghost you after like something they're going through, it's like your mental health is not going to be good after
Yeah.
that, like on and off.
Yeah.
Especially if it's just like a not a one-time thing and it's like a constant thing as
yeah,
well.
I
because
think
it's also
that's
it
not
would
healthy.
also make like if it's a genuine thing where like they're actually going through something, but then every single time they are going through something they ghost, it will make me feel like, what am I here for? Like,
Okay,
I
fair.
should be able to work
That
things
first one.
out with
Yeah.
you as your partner. Like,
And that's
it's
why I was
that's
saying
why
the
I'm
whole
just
thing
kind
about
of like,
texting before.
you know,
Because if they ghost you, then it's always going to be a red flag. Like it's
Yeah.
you're never they ghosted me, but it's fine.
you know, it's never a
always going to
good
be a red
thing
flag.
because it just kind of feels like, why can't you guys work through it together?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know.
I'm supposed to be your person that you can come
Exactly.
to when you're having problems. But instead, what are you doing right now? And that's another question. You're like, what are you doing? What are you
What-
really doing if you're
what-
not messaging me?
They said they're busy, they're going through stuff.
Yeah.
It's like,
why
do
they're
you
going
not
through
want me
stuff.
to help you? Like,
Yeah.
I can just come, and if it's to just help you with your normal day-to-day activities, like, we're not doing anything. Like, it's a lot, because it also makes it's also going to affect like your partner emotionally, no matter how you look at it. Like, if something like that is happening, at least let it be like, oh, it was a one-time thing, you know, there's a first time, like, we're all humans, and like, and maybe because you guys
give
maybe
them, like,
just met, or
Yeah.
One strike.
maybe because you
Yeah.
want, maybe I can understand like if it was so overwhelming and you just didn't know how to like come forward about it, maybe like the first time. But then if it still continues to happen, it's just kind of giving like,
Yeah.
are you comfortable with me? Do you trust me? And why are we actually inside this relationship?
Because
You
it's
know?
one thing to like take space or take time, but
Exactly.
then if you ghost them, that means you didn't. There's no heads up. You just then it's like it's always just going to be a red flag.
Interesting. What about when someone acts very affectionate and lovey-dovey, and the relationship is the best it could ever be in private, but in public it's like, are you guys even dating? They're very cold.
See, communication again. Because
Well, like,
some
what if
people,
they say
some people don't like PDA.
it's not necessarily in PDA? Like, they're just very cold in public. Like, people will think y'all are just friends. Like, maybe they don't even hold your hand. They don't even, and that's, or maybe they don't even like, you guys will be eating, maybe they'll sit like right here, or they'll sit across from you. Like, they're not, like, it almost seems like you guys are not dating. It's like they were trying to like not cover up anything. I'm not saying cover up.
It's almost like the privacy is literally giving hiding.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Like, they're
depends on
cold in
context,
public.
for sure.
What do you guys think? Red flag, green flag?
I think that's
Let's
a,
give you
It's
the
a red
flag.
flag.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
red
Let's
flag.
give you the whiteboard.
Yes.
Who's been holding the whiteboard?
I already put it up.
Both.
Like, we
Oh,
both
okay,
put
so-
it up. So it's both right.
Okay. Do you think it's a red flag or a green flag?
What was the question?
The question was that they're very affectionate in person and cold in public.
I think define cold.
Like, they just like it's like you question. It's like, wait, they're not usually like this. Like, it's
Yeah.
like,
can I
it's like
help?
you can sense.
Can I explain?
Yeah, explain.
So it's like,
I think
if you and your partner are more like affectionate and more like you guys actually, when you're around each other, it's more natural. You guys are actually the way you are, more comfortable and welcoming towards each other. But then once you guys step outside in public, you're more distant from your partner. You're not necessarily interacting with them as much. Even like little like physical affections and like intimate stuff that you guys will do, all of that is just completely like drawn back like out of it. It's like you're strangers almost, or like acquaintances.
I think that's really intense.
Yeah.
That would be a really intense drawback.
Yeah.
And I feel like that could be a red flag and a reason for a check-in, just to see if everything's going all right. Because if something like that extreme is happening, there's got to be, every cause has an effect, right? And so you kind of want to examine what caused that, right? So that's why, once again, circles to communication. So, and
always
communication has layers, right? But communicating with a person who's in that state can be difficult,
Yeah,
especially if they've withdrawn.
that's
So
true.
sometimes the best thing you can do, especially depending on the society, right? Like it really depends on like case-to-case basis, but an overall complete pullback could be a red flag.
Interesting. Okay. Next, I have 2 more questions to ask. The first one is, they asked for space when you guys are like in the middle of a fight or something, or like you guys are like about to task, or like you guys are arguing, or maybe there's something that's about to get heated, or like you guys are already talking and they ask for space. Do you guys think it's a red flag or a green flag? Actually, I'm gonna have you do it. Then after you do yours, you'll do yours. And you do
Okay.
yours too.
That's avoidance.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you?
I agree. That's why she's waving
what about
it.
you?
Oh, me?
We
Yeah.
agree.
Define space.
They ask for space. Space is, I don't want, like, space. Just it's the word space.
Like we are having a conversation or like maybe a dispute or something, and it's right in the middle of it, you just decide to draw back and say you want space.
Oh, not even like to
And
come
like
back to the conversation.
Like, I mean, you'll probably come back, but you right then and there you ask for space. Is it a red flag or a green flag? Before we say anything, what do you think?
I
it
don't
is?
think it's a red flag.
Okay, and what do you think? Red flag? Okay, explain. Wait, you said green flag now.
Well, no, it's red flags.
Oh, okay.
But I just want to say, I think I got the questions also mixed up, because the other one I was saying was kind of my answer, of complete withdrawal,
Okay.
drawback. But so the last question,
The
if they're drawback like in
withdrawing.
person, I didn't quite answer that.
I see.
So that's why I just wanted to say that my answer to that, because I got them mixed up.
Oh, okay.
So that one I would say that like it I'd say it's half, because it depends on the situation. Not every situation that you're walking through with your partner
Is a red flag.
is a red flag, because you're not holding each other's hands, or like showing your affection in that moment. Because some moments, it depends what are you doing in that moment, right?
I feel like with this question,
Who
as well,
surrounds you?
it
What do you
depends on
do?
like the situation. Like if you're in an argument and things are getting heated, and you guys are yelling at each other, maybe even hitting each other, I don't know what's going on, right? That's when I think space could be like, okay, like let's take up, like it's also like how you ask for space. You know, things are getting heated right now. I think we should take like 5, come back when we're like both like calm, cool, and collected, and we can actually talk about it properly.
Yeah.
That's basically how I feel. Because I know I said red flag was because I just think of it like it's unfair if you're trying to have a conversation with somebody and you just immediately pull away.
Yeah.
Like that's just kind of what it is. But obviously, with you and your partner, like I also do understand that you could be perfectly fine in a relationship, in a conversation, but then your partner is overwhelmed. So it just depends on how like the overwhelmed person is now deciding to pull back out of the conversation as well. Because obviously, if the thing of like you guys are yelling whatever, it's without a doubt like take space, take a breather. But like if you just on your own, it can seem avoidance or like maybe just don't want to deal with it. If you're just like no, not trying to have the conversation.
I feel like for me, I think that's a green flag. And let me explain why. I feel like when things are heightened, words could be said that could be irreversible. A lot of things, well, it depends how heightened the conflict is. If the conflict is something that is very like bad, like it's like people are getting angry, I think deciding to take space for a second, calm down, and come back could actually save the
No,
relationship.
that's the logical thing to
Yeah, I feel like it's actually a green flag when someone says, okay, let's take space and come back and revisit this conversation, because obviously we're both not in the right space, mental space to talk about it. What I do think it could be an issue is if it's like, actually no, I don't think it could ever be an issue.
I do think it can though.
I feel like,
Because if imagine a situation where, because this has, I'm saying this because it has happened to me, unfortunately,
Go on,
in the
go on.
past. But like, imagine you, like the person I was with, went up to them. I'm trying to express myself and everything, and it's like, imagine you've been trying to get a message across to this person over and over and over again, and you literally still come to have the exact same conversation again, right? And then it's basically giving, they're like, oh, they don't even know where this is coming from, and they feel like they're on the outside looking in, and that they don't want, they basically not even trying to even process what is even being said to them.
I feel like
as
that's
well.
different from saying
And
you need space.
No,
Right.
I'll get to there.
Okay.
Because after that, proceeded to now overall just like say, like not just have the conversation anymore, and try to be like, oh, we can have it later on. But then it's like, whenever I actually do bring it up.
so they repeatedly ask for space every single time.
Exactly.
Okay, then that's an issue. I'm talking about like if like you ask for space to, because I feel like if you bring up an issue to someone and maybe it sounds like they're not listening, paying attention, and then they ask, can we take space and revisit this conversation? It might be them trying to process something. It might be them getting overwhelmed and not wanting to shut down and wanting to process it in a healthy
I do
way.
understand.
But
that.
if they keep doing that over and over again, and it feels like you're never able
as
to
a
get
point,
your
it kind of
words
just
across
feels like they're being avoidance. That's
okay,
what I'm
then
trying
it
to
could
say.
be avoidance.
Yeah.
Then it could be avoidance. It depends, honestly. I feel like it
Yeah.
depends on the situation and how often they do it. If that's their coping mechanism and how they handle communication, then I feel like that's a healthy way to do it. Because sometimes when your emotions are heightened, you don't say the right things, or things that you should say, or things that you really mean, and you don't want to be in a situation where you accidentally say something that you don't actually mean. So I feel like taking that space to come back and like actually like apply yourself in that conversation in a healthy manner is not a
Yeah.
bad thing, depending on how you do it. But I feel like, okay, my last question is, this is my last question before I go into a topic for you guys, but where is it? Oh yeah, they asked to hang out only late at night but never during the day. What do you think?
I'm so sorry. I agree. I was just thinking of the Sneaky Link song.
What do you think? You guys both seem conflicted.
It's like, do you work all day?
Yeah, like,
What are you
Some
doing
questions come to
today?
what are
Yeah,
you
like
doing
what?
for the remaining hour of the day?
Is it Batman?
Like,
That would be a
if
red
it's
flag.
Batman, don't you think
Yeah, I
you'll
would
be
say- I
free
would
as
say-
during the day?
Yeah,
You
I would
know,
like
actually-
communicate. Like, why are you not seeing me during the day? It's like
It's
sunny.
all the time though.
It's like
Yeah.
sunny and like what's going on?
I have a
Like, what's
question.
Maybe
wrong
they're
with the
vampire.
It's all
I
the
have
time.
a
When did it
question.
start?
Liz, I
Like,
have a
since
question.
When you
Sorry.
guys were talking.
Is it like from day one that you met them, it's always like at night? Yeah, I don't know, that's a red flag, because I'm like, realistically speaking, what are you actually using the
What do you
remaining
think?
hours of the day to do?
You guys seem conflicted.
I think it's a red flag.
Yeah.
Just because you should stop and, like, well, even initially I have some questions.
Yeah.
Because it'd be like, when we say all the time, does that mean like
All the time.
like
Yeah,
from
like-
the like,
Yes.
I
since
literally
day
asked the
day
same
one-
question since day one, yes.
Since day one,
Like-
all the time, they only ask to see you at night.
My side thing, like what's
Like,
going
it's
on?
Are they
giving
like a-
sneaky link.
Are they like
Dead ass.
Are they like
Like a day, like a day.
vampire?
The only time they hang out is okay.
Like the only time is at night. Like you guys could get some sun together, maybe, you know,
Like-
and bathe in the sun a bit together, and
Like
go
it
for a
doesn't
walk.
feel like you're trying to take the person serious, because like how would you even plan to do things with them? Like,
Yeah, if you're
Yeah.
always busy during that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Unless-
and it's like if you really wanted to, you would create the time. So it's like it just generally feels like a red flag.
Yeah, especially since like I like the sun and I like doing like day activities. I feel like that's just like you're not compatible at that point.
Yeah.
Red flag
Mm-hmm.
immediately.
Ooh, actually, I had one more too that I was supposed to ask, because I know that I picked out certain questions. Okay. So, my last question. This is actually my last question for this game.
Okay.
Is it a red flag or green flag if okay, let me explain this really properly so you guys understand what I'm saying.
Okay.
Everybody has different love languages, right?
Yeah.
And people apply that in every aspect of their life, in friendships, relationships, sometimes in with how they that's how they love, right? Is an overly touchy person, not just to you but to other people, a red flag or a green flag?
I don't think.
Can you
Like-
describe overly touchy?
Yeah.
It's like I'm not saying that they're out here grabbing other people's asses or something like that. That's not what I mean.
Wait, it's overly touchy with other people?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I
Do
need
you
to
think
think
that's a
about
red
that.
flag or green flag?
I still feel like I need a definition
But
for overly
specifically
touchy.
to like their attracted
Like that
sex.
if you always hit a person.
I say that.
So like if they're attracted
That's
to
no, I'm sorry, but that's
It has
actually
to
a
be.
so
red
if they're
flag.
attracted to
Yeah.
women
Because it's giving you can't
to
keep
women,
it in
if they're
your
attracted to
mouth,
men to men.
which is also like a respecting for yourself.
Because I
too.
wanted to point that back into the closing thing, but I need you guys to talk about that for a second.
A lot of questions.
I think it's a red
I
flag.
What do you
agree.
think? Red
Yeah.
flag, what do you think? It's
When we
like-
say red flag on it, what does that mean?
No, red flag is just red flag, green flag is just green flag. Like, watch out for this person, or like green flag is like, okay, some of the questions is not really a red flag, green flag question. I would say it's sometimes either normal or not normal.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe red flag, green flag wasn't the way to put it, but like this is actually like do you think that that's something you watch out for, or do you think
I
that that's something that like
personally
is a normal thing if that's how that person?
In all
expresses their
honesty,
love.
I feel
Because it's
like.
gonna tie back into
Can I honestly answer?
Yes.
Okay, because I feel like if you have a partner that is like my issue with it is it just doesn't it feels more of like a sexual thing at that point more than like a thing of a love language, especially if it's catered to the gender that they are only attracted to. Like, do you get what I'm trying to say? Because it's like if it is your genuine love language, right, and your love language is you're touchy, whatever, like I have guy friends who are actually like they like to hug and like all those type of things because that is how they show their affection, but they don't just do it with just the opposite gender. They
Yeah.
will do it with their guy friends as well because it's their love language.
love language. I get
You
what you
get.
mean. Yeah.
So it's like if I'm now with like I can't imagine I'm with somebody and it's like they go around being overly touchy with like all basically any girl that it comes around that they're attracted to. At that point it just kind of it's more weird. It's not really more about a love language at that point. It's just kind of giving you don't have self-control.
What do you guys think?
I think that it takes time to get to know somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just the initial idea of it being that you only see a certain person during night in and of itself.
No, that's the
One.
last
That's the
question.
Oh, so what's the...
I said, is it a red flag or green? Because we were talking about love languages,
Right.
right? And how people express their love. And some people express their love with like physical touch. I said, is it a red flag or a green? Well, not a green flag.
Okay.
Is it a red flag basically if someone is an overly touching person to the sex they're attracted to?
Yes.
You think it's a red flag?
I think
What
it's a
about-
red flag
what
because
about
you
you,
should keep your hands to yourself until you're... I mean, like,
Mm-hmm.
I think it depends too, like, when... Like, that's a complex question. That's a
It
really
is.
complex question. But I think that you
Mhm.
could say that it could be considered, like... You could consider it a red flag. I think it's about who's doing
Yeah.
But if it's just a context of your significant other, but even then, that could be confusing, right? Because it's like whoever you're choosing to be your significant other and what that means at the time that you've chosen them to be such and such. So if they're touching you, or even vice versa, it's also just that's another whole thing, because now you have to consider like how, who's doing the touching, when, why.
No, I'm talking about like
Like when we say overly touchy,
mhm.
what's the standard
With
that
other
we're
people,
discussing
with other
from here
people.
right now?
I'm just
Engage with
saying,
other
just like
people,
touching to other people that's
not
not
the
your partner.
relationship.
But that's their love language. They say,
Yeah,
oh,
but like, how are we defining touchy? Is it like, oh, they go up to people like touching their face, or
I
like,
don't know, touching is touching. You know, like touching can be anything.
I personally feel like no matter how you look at that, it's just weird because it's also invasive to another person's like boundaries and everything. Like no,
What if the other person
you
doesn't
know,
mind?
I mean, obviously some people wouldn't mind and all,
Mm.
which is still fair, but then like it's still, you still have to look at it in terms of like if it's genuinely a love language that they are trying to put out there, they shouldn't be just touchy with the opposite gender. It should be a thing of like both. Like if the guy is coming, you're touchy with everybody because oh, these are the people that you like as people.
So you think that if they're touchy to everybody, not just the opposite gender, like it's okay? Like
not
it's,
like it's
It's
okay,
understandable.
it's just more understandable. Like obviously with that I would still say apply like self-control and like boundaries, because like as much as it's your love language, naturally not everybody is a touchy person as well too. So
And consent.
yes.
yes. That's
So
very
It's a
it's
big
important.
like
one.
so that's just kind of it. So I don't, my only issue is if you're being touchy with just like obviously if it's me and Afolabi now, if Afolabi says oh that's just his love language but then he's only doing it with girls, it's like no, you're just attracted to those girls, you're not actually like doing it out of like love language or whatever because
Yeah.
it should be more inclusive.
Okay, wow. That's really interesting. I get your point. I feel like definitely self-control is very important, but also it's like the understanding level increases depending on if this is something that you've known them to
Yeah.
be, the type of person that you've known them to be. But that's also where boundaries between you and your partner comes
Yeah.
in, and it's like, do you guys want to be able to do this in your relationship? Like, is that something you're okay with?
Yeah.
And is that something you're okay with them doing to other people? That's really great, guys. You guys both had some very inciting points. Thank you guys for playing this game. But one thing I did want to ask, to go back to the overall topic on self-love and self-respect, is just the things that people had to unlearn to fully love themselves, and just how you know you're actually respecting yourself in relationships. And to that, we're going to go into the audience prompt. So how do you guys, what are things that you think that you had to unlearn into relationships? Like, for example, like I said in the previous prompt question, which was overly touchiness. Like some people might say, oh, I had to unlearn how to be less touchy because I needed to go into this relationship out of love for my partner, but also like it's a self-respect thing. You get what I mean? Because it's like if you love yourself, you love your partner, but you also have to realize that like boundaries and things like that, it all coexists into one. So what are things that you guys think you guys had to unlearn before entering in a relationship? And also how do you know when you're respecting yourself in a relationship? So it's kind of two questions that kind of go hand in hand. We'll start with you. Or you don't have an answer. I know I kind of put you on the spot.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, there's like so many, I feel.
I mean, like, anybody can go in if you guys have a response towards it.
I have one.
Okay, go ahead.
I know one thing that I had to unlearn was I was very blunt. I kind of still am, but then I know like he used to talk to me about it, and then like I had to basically, and still am diluting my tongue, you know. Then what was the other thing?
Which was what is something you had to unlearn in order? Wait, no. How do you know
Oh yes,
when you're
and
respecting yourself?
I
in a
feel
relationship?
like, well, for me personally, I feel like I'm personally respecting myself in terms of like, before I met my partner, I already had like like my own goals, what I envisioned for myself, like how I want to be, and the type of person that I want to see myself as, despite like, you know, any other factor in my life. And it's like, the only way I feel like that is going to be respected, especially in a relationship, is if your partner also helps you, you know, march towards like those exact same things, like just basically being an anchor and support for like who you want to be, like the image that you overall make for yourself. Obviously be open to constructive criticism, you know, at the end of the day, but you know, just so far as like we're all doing it with like genuine love and like respect and just wanting to grow and build with somebody in an ideal way, I feel like, you know, like, you know, like minds.
Do you guys have anything to
Yeah.
say regarding that prompt or that question?
I think just I don't know.
You don't have anything you had to unlearn before entering a relationship, or how do you know when you are respecting yourself in a relationship?
I'm not sure if there's like a definitive, like I'm not sure if there's just a one type of answer to that question,
But what you know, that's it. No, that's okay. That's okay. Because I
like
think
there's like people pleasing.
okay.
It's like one.
yeah.
I always felt like I had to like give like more for the person to like love me, and then learning that like I don't have to do that. Like I'm enough, kind of thing, and just kind of like you know, the balance, like loving yourself
Yeah.
while loving the person, and having like time for yourself, but also time for the other person.
Oh, that's good.
I feel I had to like unlearn like giving so much to like my partner, and like make sure to like give myself something.
If I can just jump on that point, it's like some people get into relationships and expect that like all the love in the world is just going to come from that source. And it's like if it doesn't come in the shape or form that they expect, then they feel like maybe it's not love, or it's not true, or they don't deserve love. And I just feel like you need to have self-love within yourself before you even like prioritize love from somewhere else, because that's always the most important thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that your partner should represent the type of love that you have for yourself. I think that self-love is very important, because whatever you're feeling and whatever type of value you have for yourself, your partner will reflect that. If you have little to no value, it'll show in your partner majority of the time. And if you have a lot of value and a lot of self-respect, it'll also show in your partner, because that also goes into what you're willing to tolerate and what you're willing to accept from someone else. I feel like in order to really have a relationship that feels secure and whole, is to first feel secure and whole in yourself and within yourself. Honestly, I feel like my journey to self-respect and self-love came from rewinding to past traumas and past issues, having to go back to the past to come back to here, to realize these are things I went through, this is how it affected me, these are habits I developed because of it, trauma responses, and I saw how it affected my relationships, my friendships, and I made sure that I took time to heal that before I created those relationships and friendships even further, because I knew that I can't let people into my life just to affect them with the trauma and backlash, not backlash, that's not really the word. Well, it is projection that I have from my experiences. And only then did I realize that I started to develop true friendships that reflected that love that I have for myself and that love I want to give to other people. And I think that's the most important thing when developing self-respect, self-love, and that journey, is remembering that you need to realize some things within yourself and what you want to represent before you start asking that of other people. You need to make sure that you're representing that, you're doing those things, you're being a communicative person before you start asking for communication. You're being a loyal person before you start asking for loyalty. You're being a trustworthy person before you start asking for trust. Because all of those things go co in hand. You can't ask things from other people that you don't have within yourself. I think that's the most important thing. But I do want to reflect on an audience response. I do this thing where I have anonymous responses, reflections from the audience based off of the prompt. And a prompt that I did ask the audience was regarding what I just mentioned about how do you know when you're respecting yourself in a relationship? And I just want to listen to what an audience member had to say regarding that. And I have no responses towards it. I never do. I just want to hear and reflect, and for all of us to kind of listen to someone else's experience. So we're just going to hear that really quickly.
How do you know when you're respecting yourself in relationships? This advice that I'm about to give is not for only one type of relationship. It can be used for both romantic relationship and friendship. And I'll say you just gotta set boundaries. Even though sometimes loving a person, that will make you like let them get away with a lot of stuff. But if you feel like you're getting disrespected, you just set the boundary. You tell them that you don't like it. Communication is key, and you just gotta check them. And when the people hear check, it doesn't have to be disrespectful or like we're going back and forth loud and stuff. It's just like calm, just calm, collected type of conversations that you can have with somebody. Call them over, talk to them, and if they keep doing the same stuff, just leave them with their situation. There's nothing wrong with leaving a person to gather their self and understand what they're doing, and then come back to you. So that's really what I can get right now. And also, like, respect is reciprocal. Wherever you give is wherever you get back.
Wow. I think they were spitting facts. Again, I don't reflect too much on what people say because I feel like that's the reflection based off of the prompt. But I do appreciate what they mentioned, especially regarding what you give is what you get back.
Yeah.
So remember, guys, in everything you do, in all relationships you create, in all friendships, everything, it all goes hand in hand. Like, you have to remember, what you give is what you receive. Treat others the way you want to be treated. We're spitting Bible facts because it's the truth.
Yeah.
So you got to remember that whatever type of energy, whatever type of things that you want to get, make sure your life emulates that. Because then only you will actually start to receive the things that you really want and you really desire. It goes into everything. But I just want to say thank you guys so much for joining me on this episode. I really appreciated diving into this topic with you guys, and I appreciated your insight, your responses to the prompt, and I just want to say thank you guys for joining me, and I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.